Programs and presentations. Our first presentation is our district spelling bee winners, Miss Diana Vabanco.
Good evening. Is it on? Yeah? Can you hear me? Okay. So, I'm here to, well, there's no students here, but I would like to congratulate all the district spelling bee participants. They did a great job.
Is that mic on? Am I, or is it just me?
It's on?
Sound like it.
It's on? Can you hear me? Okay.
I'll
So,
try.
I'd like to thank them all. They were very amazing, patient with me. We had a couple of issues, because it was virtual. Our champion will go forward to compete in the Riverside County Bee on March 23rd. Our second place winner will be our alternate in case our champion is unable to attend. Our district had a tie for third place. That's the first. The virtual bee was multiple choice, and we had 25 questions. It was timed also. The students who participated at the sites and district levels were asked to recite the Scripps National Spelling Bee Integrity Pledge. So I had the question, how do we know the parents didn't help them, or how do we know we didn't cheat? Well, I talked to them myself, and I had them do the pledge, and the pledge is simple. I am honest to myself. I am fair to my classmates and teachers. On my honor, I will neither give nor receive any help during this virtual spelling bee. Now, that doesn't mean they won't try, but I did tell them, if you do go further, and at the time we weren't sure if the county bee was going to be in person or virtual, because they were still kind of on the fence. You're going to be up there, and if you got any kind of help, you're stuck, because there's no way you can get any help if you're up there on stage. So I think they did really great. Looking at their scores, they didn't cheat. But a lot of them did very well. So please join me in congratulating our district spelling bee champion, who scored 25 out of 25. Matsarat Liao. She's an 8th grader at Ruth Brown Elementary. So she did very well. Our second place, an alternate, who scored 24 out of 25, she was bummed about that, is Tanea Holly. She's also an 8th grader from Appleby, though. So she did very well, too. And like I said before, normally we only have one third place winner, but because it was virtual, and I was hoping somebody would have broken this tie, because they had, it was a timer, and they can do it at any time they choose to do it. And I was hoping that somebody would break the tie, but they didn't. The district decided to have 2 third place winners. So their scores were 22 out of 25, which was pretty good. Both are from Ruth Brown. It was Ava Lester, a 7th grader, and Daya Patel, a 6th grader. So they did very well, too. And like I said, our spelling bee champion will be competing in the Riverside County Spelling Bee. It will be virtual. It's scheduled for March 23rd. The champion of the Riverside County Bee, so whoever wins there, will be invited to attend the Scripps National Spelling Bee on June 1st. And that's going to be held in National Arbor, Maryland. So, yay, I hope she gets it. I don't know if I get to go, but yay. I would also like to give a shout out to the site bee coordinators, Mrs. Husby from Ruth Brown, Mrs. Lorero from Appleby, and Mr. Ojalabi from Margaret White. They were a great help to me and did a fantastic job, because it was all new to us. So if I had questions, we kind of all got together. And the one person I could not do this without is Kristen Tenafos. She's always ready to assist in any way possible and gives you a boost when you need it, because I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore, Kristen. It's just too hard with the virtual computer stuff. But she goes, you can do it, and you already know how to do it. So, she's just a calming voice. I will be giving the awards to the winners, and my hope is that I'll get to get a picture with them so that we can also, present a little slideshow with the picture and the students with their awards. So this is, of course, they have a little stand, but this is first place, and we have second place, and then we're going to have 2 third place. So they're kind of nice.
Those are pretty.
I'm going to miss that we can't present it to them personally, but hey, they won. So it's pretty good. Also, thank you for allowing me to be part of the spelling bee. This year was different, but I hope we can go back to person next year. I like kind of old school, but it was really fun. It was a learning experience, and I think the kids really got a kick out of that. I think, though, even though it was multiple choice, it gave them too many multiple choice so close that they would probably have been do better person to person, because they would have really made sure that they could spell it correctly. But they did really well. There was a lot of kids that were really close. I was kind of nail biting, like I can't have all these people tie, but they did really well. So, any questions?
Thank
No?
you.
Good job.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diana.
Bye bye.
All right, our next presentation is an update on district facilities. Mr. Steve Stiers.
Good evening. An update for the site projects. We're still trying to finish up the barn project. Right now we have one goat pen built. We have one steer pen built. They are in process of manufacturing the rest of them. As far as getting a finalized date of when they'll be here, we have not received that yet. Moving on to the site security projects. Right now, we're waiting on the contractors to return to fix some items we had concerns with. Underneath the bottom edges of the glass on each site, I requested that they put some sort of round molding or something to protect people from sticking their arms underneath there. And on the bottom of the extruded aluminum on the edges, they were very sharp and jagged. And I requested that they put a cap or something underneath there to keep people, kids or somebody, from sticking their fingers up in there and cutting their hands or their fingers. I do have a request from the board on landscaping for the district and bringing in trees, removing trees, and replacing with new trees. Janine, can you go to the...
Right there in front of you, Steve.
You got a new one? This right here is a picture of the middle school. We are requesting that we could possibly remove that palm tree and plant a new tree there and add landscaping. When we get towards the end, I'll show you the landscaping and the bushes and the trees that we're talking about. This is the front area and the far right of areas that we're talking about, maybe planting plants or bushes to kind of brighten up the sites, clean up the coloration of them, where they're not so just, we want a little bit more color, welcoming and friendly and welcoming the kids back. If you look on the bottom left, this is some of the trees that we're talking about removing throughout the district. If you'll look and you'll kind of see some of the orange where we get beehives in the trees get hollowed out and they go in and they put insulfoam and to plug up the holes. We would like to be able to start removing these trees and replacing back with new trees and younger trees and just more colorful and a variety of trees.
Before you go off that, could I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Is there irrigation already in along the building?
In some of those areas, yes, and some no. We would have to attach them to sprinkler systems or tie and drip systems.
Thank you.
The front of the high school, we're looking at changing right there where the wrought iron is and the red rock area, adding some more foliage in that area, yellows, purples, just more vibrant colors and plants. The plants that we're looking at are more heat tolerant. They're more of a spring to fall and a fall to spring for year-round foliage and year-round color. Okay. We're looking at doing it at Ruth Brown in the parking lot. This is the center section on the top left of the parking lot. There is, from my understanding, a water line in there. The guys would have to find that, but we'd like to be able to put a drip system through there and maybe in between each rock, start putting some foliage and some color back in the parking lot. And then the top right, that's a street view of Ruth Brown, where we'd like to start putting maybe some trees or plants or something to bring color back to the front of that. Along the bottom right, that is one area, Mr. Guth, that you pointed out that we would probably have to locate or run a drip line to off the irrigation system to get water into that planter right there. Next one up. This right here is one of the trees, an Arizona ash. These trees grow approximately 40 foot tall. They're year round. They're water conservation. They don't take a whole lot of water. Once they get going, they grow fast and they provide a good canopy and a good shade. This is one of the options we have for trees. Next one. And this is the Ficus Indian Laurel. This tree, we already have them on our sites. We have them throughout the district. They're in front of the high school. We'd like to see if we can start planting more of these around where we can get more canopies and more shade. The Tipuana tree. This tree actually came from Africa, and they've actually migrated into the United States. People brought them in. This is a year-round tree. It puts off very beautiful yellow flowers. They're colorful year-round, and they have a big canopy, a lot of shade for the kids, and love it.
Grow really fast.
Next one. Then. Yeah. And the Palo Verde Desert Museum tree. Also known as the Palo Verde tree. We'd like to put one of those in maybe in front of the high school or something like that where we have color. This one is, we're trying to, there's different varieties of Palo Verde trees, believe it or not. Ones with bigger thorns, some with smaller thorns. This one has the smaller thorns on it. It's not so rough and difficult to trim and keep up. And they do have a nice 30 to 40 foot when they get full grown canopy on them. So maybe we put that somewhere in front of the high school. And this is some of the bushes that we're talking about, the shrubs for the low ground line areas. This is a Texas sagebrush. These grayish green flower. They have a lavender smell. And they're a full sun plant. They're a hardy plant. And they're late spring through fall bloom on those. And this is the green cloud sage. This one gets anywhere, it could get up to 6 foot tall. We keep them trimmed back, keep them 3 to 4 foot, nice round figure, nice full bush flowers. That's kind of stuff we're talking about planting along the street side view and maybe in front of some of the buildings. And these are the Lantrana shrubs. These are more of a smaller plant for the tighter areas where you can get some coloration in. They are for warm climates. We will have to run drip systems for these. And these, they're going to be more shaded areas where we'll plant those out to kind of help protect them and keep them going. And the last one is the Lantana confetti. This one has small flowers on it, roughly the size of a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, multiple flowers, multiple colors. And these are same as their fellow as a Lantana. The more of a shade, midday sun, afternoon shade, some of the planter areas where we'd like to plant some of those throughout the district. And that's all I have. Do you have any questions?
I think it would be great. My kids have always went to Ruth Brown, and it was, frankly, it was terrible when they took out the trees and the grass and put in rocks that you just literally slide across the parking lot on and trip everywhere. So I for one, would love to see us get back to having some trees and some shrubs, and I have a couple of these trees in my yard, and they do great. They thrive. So
I
I'd
do
love
have a
to see 'em.
question. I just out of curiosity, so is this going to require for us to hire another employee so that they can take all of these shrubs and whatever else that we're putting in? Or with the staff that we currently have, they can all take care of that?
We would do it with the staff we currently have. The staff we currently have trims all the trees and keeps them all up and going. A lot of the problem we have with a lot of trees right now is they're so old. If you look to the bottom right of that tree is one of the examples I'll point out to you. You see where the root ball starts coming out the bottom. A lot of them become a safety and a trip hazard where the kids are running through and the roots are actually growing through the grass. And that's the thing we're trying to get rid of, to bring the trees back to where they're not so rough looking
And some of these trees I would think would require less maintenance. Your Arizona ash does require, mine are 10 years old, and I think we've trimmed them once.
Yeah.
So they don't seem to require, same with the Palo Verde and
A lot of the mulberry trees are higher maintenance.
they're a higher
trees.
maintenance tree.
A lot of leaves, and they require every couple of years, every 2 years. full
Trim 'em
trim
all back.
And then it takes another 2+ years to get your shade back.
A lot of these trees were put in the 60s, of course, that's,
Yeah.
back in the 60s, that's what the big thing was, the mulberry tree, and they're still there. But like Jamie was saying, that the trees that you're gonna put in are low maintenance, less work, less maintaining. But yeah, I think it's great because the two-person before you wanted to take out the stuff to make it easier for maintaining, but it doesn't look inviting. And it needs to be looking inviting. And I think I know the shrubberies are a little bit more work, but some of the desert shrubbery, it doesn't take that much work. Like if you pick the right ones, I think you're doing the right thing. I mean, I like to see some color back into this district. I think you're doing a good job of trying to get this thing going.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, our next presentation is Palo Verde High School course offering changes for 2021-2022. Ms. Rachel Angel.
Good evening, everybody. It
Good
feels good to
evening.
be back. I'm first going to go over our sports update. I want to kind of go through some information with you guys about where we're standing with sports. We have started with our purple tier sports season. We have cross country, swim, and girls golf right now active. So they are practicing. We do have our very first meet coming up this Saturday, the 20th, at Sunbeam Lake. This is a cross-country event that's going to be taking place this Saturday. There are 15 student athletes for cross-country, which is actually the largest we've had in the last few years on our cross-country team. We have 25 student athletes in swim, and their first swim event will be March 4th, and it's actually going to be hosted here at Palo Verde High School. Unfortunately, CIF regulations, we are not allowed to have spectators. So that's something that is a CIF regulation. We are hoping to maybe live stream the event for
Oh, that
parents
would
to
be
be able
cool.
to watch that way. So we're working that out. We have 8 girls golf student athletes, and they are hosting their first event here at our Blythe Municipal Golf Course on March 1st. Again, it's no spectators are allowed. We have 10 boys golf participants. Right now, they began practice today. So the boys golf started today with practice. We are still waiting on track and field to officially start. Ms. Hahn held a preseason meeting last Thursday. There were several track and field athletes who participated in this meeting. We do have our main coach, who is Coach Jorgensen. He is the cross-country coach as well. So we're waiting to start the practices because their season is a little bit later for their first events until we have an assistant coach. So we're waiting for the assistant coach to be hired. There were informational meetings held for every sport. The students, Ms. Hahn was very thorough, and they have to do a self-screening every single day, just like employees of the district do. So they do a daily self-screening. They fill out a form that goes online. By 1 p.m. they have to submit it, and it goes to their coach and to Ms. Hahn so that they can go through. And we already had one student athlete whose parent called in and said, my student is, sick or not feeling well. What is our protocol? And we immediately went through the contact tracing. We went through the nurse, and everything. It was allergy related, so it was great. It was good. So we were like, yes. But I just wanted you guys to be aware that we are following the protocols. Everything is going through the way they're supposed to, and we're doing the contact tracing appropriately. So on the new program offerings for the 21-22 school year. We are in the midst of course requests right now. We have already completed 8th grade course requests. The counselors went virtually into the 8th grade classrooms, met with the students. They have almost all of the 8th grade course requests completed. By March 5th, all course requests will be completed for all of our freshmen, sophomore, and juniors for the next year. But I wanted to talk about some things that we're doing new in our programs, what we're offering next year. Journalism. We're moving journalism back into the English department. It's where it used to be. We are moving back into that realm. And the reason that we're doing that is because we are moving away from media publications to expand our cybersecurity pathways. We have more student interest in the cybersecurity and the coding and the robotics area, so we're trying to expand that pathway. We did vet the cybersecurity. We vetted it through our CTE meetings that we held on our site, also through our stakeholder meetings. So it's been vetted out. The journalism class, it will be an A through G elective course, so it's a G elective course. The journalism class will take on the yearbook, the stinger. They will take care of all social media accounts, our daily morning announcements, ID photos, sport photos, the live touch, like it's all part of that journalism class. But we're looking at getting curriculum for it so that we have an actual instruction for writing, like the writing component of journalism and all the different aspects of that. We are also going to offer CTE, Career Technical Education, Ag Environmental class next year. We're moving away from the CTE Ag Earth Science and we're changing to Ag Environmental, and a lot of that has to do with curriculum. We wanted an ag-based textbook, and there's no offerings for Ag Earth Science anymore from any publisher. So we're going in that direction. And Ag Environmental is an A through G D lab course. So it's a D component of the A through G requirements. It's a D lab course and it's interdisciplinary. So it will count as either a life science or a physical science, depending on which area the student needs the coverage for graduation. An exciting change that we have coming forward, we are going to be offering a C-STEM physical science 9th grade course. We have partnered up with Sonoma State University. It's a program that they offer to us to participate in the study. And what it does is our students will be in either Earth Science or the C-STEM class, and this is for all of our freshmen. Mr. Pelicano is going to be taking that course on, and he is being trained by Sonoma State, and he will be ready to go. We're looking forward to it. It's a lot of hands-on science learning, robotics, and a lot of things in that area. We are going to participate in the study for 2 years. So we are guaranteed that they're going to support us with all the supplies and materials and everything we need and the teacher support for 2 years. And then if they get the grant, which they're hoping that they get another grant because they've already gotten a second grant, we will continue with this program because we want to see this moving forward. We are going to continue with our freshman seminar course next year. Our freshmen this year, unfortunately, did not get the actual course because we just had a lot of changes right at the beginning of the school year, having to go online, and we are going to continue with it next year. However, in our freshman English classes, I do have my freshman counselor who is pushing in to work with the kids, the freshmen, and do some presentations and take them through a lot of the components that are in the freshman seminar course and getting them set up with their 10-year plan. That's the biggest component that we need, is that 10-year plan set up. In their 10th grade year, the students will do, it's called Module 1, that goes with the Get Focused, Stay Focused curriculum. So it's an extension. So our 10th graders this year will be completing adding more to their 10-year plan, and they will complete that Module 1 workbook in their English 10 class. So during their 10th grade year, they do it in English 10. Their junior and senior year, we're going to be offering junior and senior seminar as well to the students. And it's an elective course. And we're offering that next year. So that's new, a new offering for junior seminar and senior seminar. We have also partnered up with Palo Verde College. A couple of years ago, last spring, actually, we're going to be modeling it again after we did last spring, where there is a CNA course offering we have 16 years and older. Last spring, we had about, I want to say there was 10 students who signed up for the CNA program. It got difficult once everything shut down in March. So there was a few students who couldn't complete that through the college, but the rest of them did. We currently have students at the high school right now that are CNA certified. They did the program during the summer of their sophomore year, between sophomore and junior year, and then again we had another group that did it last spring. So in the fall, we're going to be offering the CNA course again. It's a Wednesday evening, like afternoon. They will take the course from 2:30 to either 5:30 or 6:30. It's usually a 3 to 4 hour course. And then they have clinicals on Saturday. And then at the end, they have the option to take the CNA certification test. And we're hoping, as we build on this, that they're going to be offering this to our students who have completed the CNA to go into the LVN program through our school as well. So we're working on building that alliance with them. I wanted to give you a quick update on what we're doing with our interventions for math. We are continuing, this is our second year offering the math intervention course to our freshmen, our incoming freshmen. Now with our math intervention course, it's really focused on algebraic concepts. So they're doing a lot of review and basic algebraic concepts because they're not quite ready for that Math 1. When they take that math intervention course, they also take consumer math. So we offer them consumer math, which is a required math class because they have to have 2 years to graduate, and in conjunction with the math intervention course. But it's taught by 2 different teachers. It's at different times during the day. We did not do the block schedule. We didn't want to do that. That's too much. Too much 2-hour block of time is just too much math for sometimes for kids. But we also have another offering for our strategic kids, the kids that are not quite at that intervention level, but they're just above and still needing some extra support in math. They can take Math 1 Year 1, which is they take 6 units, 6 of the chapters. They complete 6 in that first year, and then the second 6, so there's 12 out of the whole book. So Math 1 Year 2 would be their sophomore year, and then they've completed Math 1, because completion of Math 1 is a requirement to graduate in the state of California. We also offer the consumer math. Just a quick thing, just to point out, I've been surveying our students on elective courses, trying to come up with, I want to know, what do the students really want? What are they looking at? What do they want to take? And I put together a survey, a ton of information. And the number one thing that's coming up on the survey right now, there's about 105 students who have answered it so far. And I only put it out on Wednesday or Thursday last week, was personal finance. They want to know, how do I balance my checkbook? How do I pay my bills? How do I save for a mortgage? Those are the things that they were asking, and when they were writing in comments, that was at the bottom, that kept coming up quite a bit. So I know that, the consumer math covers that. It goes through like how to save money for gas, like, working out your gas plan for the month, your budget, working out your grocery plan and budget for the month, things like that. So there's types of problems like that in consumer math. And I know we were looking at possibly some new curriculum for business math, this kind of personal finance math. So I just wanted to give you guys an update on that as well. For our English interventions, we do have the corrective reading program. And I know Gary Soto was here at the last board meeting, and he talked to you guys about that. I have one teacher who's teaching the corrective reading. She has been trained by Vicki, who is a consultant that has been working with our schools, and she's continuing one-on-one with her as well. So we have 3 class period offerings for corrective reading, and that will continue into next year. Any questions?
I had one. The physical science for the 9th graders, is that for all the 9th graders, or you only have room for a certain amount?
No, it's all 9th graders that sign up for Earth Science. And then the West Ed, the study program is through West Ed. They will take my roster and they randomly select them. That's how it works for the study. You have to have a control group and the group that's in the actual program. But they do have different offerings. We don't want to limit our freshmen from having offerings, so they can choose. There's 4 different ag classes they could also choose from.
Yeah.
Ag science classes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about health? Is that going to be included in those seminar classes, or where did we end up? Because I know that, your freshmen now, or your sophomores now had no health.
Yes. We actually have some sophomores who have had health.
Okay.
So we've
Through the summer online,
yeah, well,
right?
some have done online, but some are taking it on site.
Okay.
So we have some sophomores that maybe needed one class. They had to make up a semester 1 of freshman year. So say they took semester 1 of English 9, but they didn't have anything for second semester. We offer them health, and a lot of them are taking it now. But we will at some point. We're offering it to our seniors, like the senior level, junior, senior level. So we do have kids next year that are signing up for health that will be our sophomores, are choosing that as one of their options for next year.
It is required, right?
Yes,
Okay.
it is a requirement.
How about the STEM courses? Are those going to be offered to a specific level, or freshmen can participate in that?
Do you mean the one that we're
STEM, the
doing?
C-STEM, yeah.
That's only for our freshmen. It's only gonna be offered for our freshmen. It's part of the study program that we're partnering up with Sonoma State. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That sounds great. Our next presentation is the PVUSD COVID-19 Safety Plan. We have Miss Lois Schaefer.
Good evening, board members. I'm here tonight to talk to you about the COVID-19 safety plan for Palo Verde Unified School District, but I want to start with some COVID-19 data. This is the state of California. I started tracking it in November, and this is the new cases per 100,000 residents across California, basically each week since November, and you can see it spiked there in January. Today, it says the 15th, it's actually today. The case rate is 24.2 per 100,000. Riverside County data, again since the same time. Again in January, it spiked. This is the adjusted case rate, and this is what we have to look at as a school district for when we are looking at whether we can open schools or not. Adjusted case rate went as high as 107.2 in January. It was 44.9 last week. Today it was 28.8, and that's the adjusted case rate per 100,000. This is Blythe, California, active cases. The highest number there, again in January, it went as high as 327 active cases. Today it's down to 132 active cases. When I started in November, it was about 40 cases. Active cases. So it went, you can see it spiked for a little while, went down, spiked again, and now it's steadily decreasing. These are the new cases per day for Blythe, California. Way back in January, you can see Christmas did its in, and there were 97 new cases in one day. Today there were new cases, 2 new cases. The last 3 before that were 0, 1, and 0. So again, the numbers are really dropping here in Blythe. Now, the COVID-19 safety plan I'm going to talk to you about is really 3 different documents. It's the PVUSD COVID-19 prevention plan, the PVUSD school guidance checklist, and the PVUSD school reopening guide. The PVUSD COVID-19 prevention plan is based on Cal OSHA expectations for workplace safety. It contains staff and student safety components, and it was reviewed at our stakeholder task force meeting and at the roundtable meeting. The PVUSD school reopening plan has guiding principles for the district. It talks about our learning models, teacher-led distance learning, hybrid and traditional. It has health and safety protocols, and it has social and emotional supports. The PVUSD guidance checklist, this checklist helps PVUSD ensure that all the items that we need are in the COVID-19 prevention plan. So what now? The PVUSD COVID-19 safety plan has been submitted to Riverside County Public Health. It has been approved. I had brought you the COVID prevention plan. You approved it. I took it to, heard back afterwards from Public Health, and they had some corrections. Some of the corrections, interestingly enough, were on the template the state asked us to use. So I was able to change the template to please the Public Health. Went through a few things, got everything, so now ours has been approved. The PVUSD COVID-19 safety plan, all 3 parts together, remember, equal to safety plan, has been forwarded to the state Safe Schools for All team by Riverside County Public Health for concurrence. Dr. Kaiser, the public health officer, The way he worded it is, I'm assuming they will approve it also. So we're just waiting to hear back. He thought we would already hear by now. The PVUSD COVID-19 safety plan is on the agenda tonight for the Board of Trustees consideration and approval. What's next? PVUSD is in negotiations with employee associations for MOUs regarding school reopening. PVUSD monitors the county COVID numbers, and you can see I check them regularly, to determine when schools can reopen. When there are less than 25 cases per 100,000 in Riverside County, and that's the adjusted rate. Remember, this week it was 28.8 for 5 consecutive days. And when we are ready to reopen, we're looking at starting at the lower grades for students in preschool, working up through TK through 6. What else? I want you to know that the district has the air filtration systems have been upgraded to MERS 11 with microbial treatment of filters. We have personal protective equipment, PPE, in place. We're looking at small, stable groups with required masks and a minimum of 6 feet of distance. Testing weekly of staff and students attending in-person instruction. That's in blue because we're still working through that. We have, you'll see later in the board agenda, an MOU that allows us to do testing approved through the county. We want to make sure you're okay with that, through Valencia Labs. And that would be testing people who are in person, testing once a week. Contract tracing system has been established. Vaccinations, again, this one is in blue because we're not all the way there yet. Moderna has been offered to school staff during our first vaccination clinic on February 3rd and 4th. It was a wonderful thing in the gym at the high school, and they were busy for 2 days straight. District administration and staff have worked hard establishing health and safety systems. We have the protocols in place now. Our recommendation is to bring back students as allowed by state and local public health. And again, on our agenda tonight, there is an action item for your consideration. Does anyone have any questions?
Oh, thank you, Lois. That was great. Thank you for the hard work in putting that plan together.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to brag on myself just a little bit. We were the first one in the county to be a
It's awesome.
Yeah, and Tracy, she's the leader, that's the way.
Lois did a heavy lift on that in the contract team, so just really,
All right. Our hearing session? We have no one for our hearing session. Reports and communications, board member report. Diana? Honey?
I have nothing to report.
Dr. Guth?
I have nothing to report.
Martha?
Nothing to report.
And I have nothing to report this evening. Superintendent's report.
just know that today we did have public health reach out to us on early considerations and possibilities for establishing the second vaccination clinic, possibly the first week in March.
And I'd like to thank Tracy for all the work she did on getting that vaccination, the first one here. I know there were a lot of political calls and calls throughout the county to get it here, so we really appreciate it. And everybody I talked to in the community that went to it said it was wonderful. So thank you for the time on that. Our fiscal update report, Mr. Sanchez?
Also don't have very much. We'll be back at the next board meeting with the second interim report. We did have a second audit, and this one was on bonds. They just finished up last week, and went all of these really well. And we did the report, I think, on the second.
We have no reports of associations this evening. Moving on to consent items. Items listed under the consent calendar motions are considered to be routine and are acted on by the governing board in one motion. There is no discussion of these items prior to the board vote unless a member of the board requests specific items be discussed and or removed from the consent agenda. It is understood that administration recommends approval of all consent items. Each item on the consent agenda approved by the governing board shall be deemed to have been considered in full and adopted as recommended. L1 minutes, L2 personnel reports, L3, ratification of purchase order listing for January 2021. Call for a motion?
So moved.
Questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Action items. M1, approval of the PVUSD COVID-19 safety plan.
So move.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? M2, authorization for in-person instruction. Call for a motion?
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? M3, approval of MOU with Valencia Lab for COVID-19 surveillance testing.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? M4, approval of indefinite postponement of the Career Technical Education Project at Palo Verde High School, including all design efforts and services. Call for a motion?
Second.
Questions or comments?
I just wanted Tracy to clarify this one, make sure that it's not all the career technical education
It's
at
just
Twin
the-
Palms. It's just the
new building, right?
the new building.
For the new construction.
Yeah.
All right.
Good?
Okay. All right. All right, any other questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? M5, approval of SAS Master Service Agreement with Google LLC. Call for a motion?
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? M6, approval of 2020-2021 PVUSD safety plans.
So moved.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? M7, approval of winter submission of the consolidated application. Call for a motion?
So moved.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? M8, approval for Felix J. Appleby Elementary 2020-2021 single plan for student achievement.
So moved.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? M9, first reading and final approval, revised job description, licensed vocational nurse. Call for a motion?
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? M10, approval of MOU between CSEA and Palo Verde Unified School District dated January 28, 2021. This MOU concerns Palo Verde Unified School District's participation in the Classified Employee Summer Assistance Program. Call for a motion?
So moved.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any other business? Future agenda items? Call this meeting adjourned. Next regular meeting Tuesday, March 2nd.